If you go to the Congo, you gotta go walk through the stretch that has that giant chimp living in it. It's a larger version of the chimpanzee. It's like 6 feet tall, huge, 200 plus pound chimps. The locals call them lion killers.
Deep in the dense jungles of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, something extraordinary lurks in the shadows. For years, whispers of massive, intelligent chimpanzees, larger, stronger, and unlike any others, have fascinated researchers and adventurers alike. Are they simply an isolated primate group, or could they be something more? Join us as we talk about the giant chimpanzee society of the Congo that is able to take down lions. Meet the mysterious Billy apes. Before we explain to you who the giant chimpanzee society of the Congo is and how they can take down lions, let's start from the very beginning with a question. Have you ever heard of Billy apes? Deep in the heart of Africa, in the remote forests and savannas of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, stories have been told for generations about enormous apes, creatures unlike any chimpanzee or gorilla ever seen before. These apes walk the earth like kings of the jungle, leaving footprints the size of a grown man's boot. Local people call them lion killers, and some even whisper that they are an unknown species of primate, different from anything else in the world. So, what are these mysterious beings? In 2003, the world was shaken by sensational reports about massive, aggressive chimpanzees roaming the wilderness of northern Congo. According to some claims, these apes were as big as gorillas, but unlike gorillas, they weren't peaceful vegetarians. They were said to hunt large animals, a behavior unheard of in known primate species, but more on that later. Imagine coming face to face with a chimpanzee that towers over you, its muscles rippling, its eyes studying you with a cold intelligence. That's what some explorers claim they experienced. One scientist even described a terrifying moment when a group of these apes rushed toward her, moving silently as if to attack, only to stop and vanish as soon as they saw her face. The story begins with Carl Amann, a Swiss-Kenyan photographer and researcher who traveled to the Congo in 1996. He wasn't looking for these mysterious apes, he was hunting for evidence of gorillas. But what he found was even more incredible. Amann obtained a skull from local hunters that seemed to belong to a chimpanzee. But something was wrong. The skull was larger than any known chimp species, and it had a prominent sagittal crest, a ridge of bone usually found in gorillas, not chimps. This strange combination of features puzzled him. As he continued his search, he found more evidence. Enormous footprints, 3 times the size of a normal chimp's, massive feces piles, and ground nests, something that only gorillas, not chimps, typically build. He even acquired photographs of what looked like huge chimpanzees standing upright like humans. Then came the most chilling part, local hunters' stories. The people of Bili and Bondo spoke of 2 kinds of apes. The first were tree beaters, normal chimpanzees that live high in the trees and are easy to hunt with poison arrows. But then there were the lion hunters, massive, powerful apes that walk mostly on the ground, do not fear leopards or lions, and are almost impossible to kill with traditional weapons. Some even claimed these apes hunted in groups, overpowering predators that no other primate would dare to challenge. Of course, extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. After years of rumors and speculation, scientists finally had a chance to investigate. The first major breakthrough came in 2003 when researchers tested DNA from the mysterious apes. To their surprise, the tests showed that these were not a new species after all. Instead, they were a unique, isolated group of eastern chimpanzees, but with some unusual traits. Over time, primatologists like Cleve Hicks studied these apes more closely. They found that while they were indeed larger and stronger than most chimpanzees, their behavior was more curious than aggressive. Unlike normal chimps, They were not afraid of humans and would approach researchers without fear. But the reports of them hunting lions? That part remains unproven, at least at that time, as you will see later. One thing is certain. These chimps have a distinct culture unlike any other in the world. They use tools in unique ways. They avoid eating certain types of termites that other chimps love, and they move in a way that makes them seem more gorilla-like. Where do the giant apes live? So, where exactly do these monkeys live? If you were to set out on an adventure to find the giant chimpanzees of the Congo, where would you go? Would you trek through deep rainforests, wade through swamps, or cross vast savannas? The answer is all of the above, because these mysterious apes are spread across a region unlike any other on Earth. To find them, you would have to travel to the far northern part of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, to a place called Bili. This small and remote city lies about 120 miles east of the Ebola River, deep in the heart of Africa. But Bili is just the starting point. The real adventure begins north of the Uele River, where the land transforms into a mix of wetlands, savannas, and broken forests. It's a wild and rugged place, untouched by modern civilization. The reason these chimpanzees remained hidden for so long is simple. This land is one of the least explored places on Earth. Wars, dangerous terrain, and a lack of roads have kept most people away. Even today, some villages in this region still use homemade guns that look like something from the 1800s. Life here hasn't changed much in centuries. When researchers first started looking for these apes, they found signs of them not just around Bili, but also near the city of Bondo, about 120 kilometers to the west. As time went on, scientists like Cleve Hicks expanded their search and discovered these chimpanzees in even more places. In 2006, Hicks moved his research to the deep forests around Gangu, which was about 31 miles away from Bili. But just when scientists thought they were getting closer to understanding these apes, a new problem arose: gold. In 2007, gold was discovered near Bili, and where there's gold, there's trouble. Thousands of miners flooded the region, cutting down trees, setting up illegal camps, and hunting wildlife, including the giant chimpanzees. Would you believe that in just 1 year, researchers counted over 30 baby chimpanzees being sold in local markets? That's just the ones they saw. Who knows how many more were taken or eliminated? To escape this destruction, the researchers had to move south, across the Uele River, to areas where the chimpanzees might still be safe. Today, the Bili apes are spread across a huge area, covering the lands along both sides of the Uele throughout what is now called the Bas-Uele district. They live in many different environments, from the dry savannas around Bili to the thick rainforests in the south. These chimpanzees are unlike any others. They are used to humans and have even been seen living just 2.5 miles from the city of Bili. Incredibly, they have also been found within 8 miles of large cities like Buta. Unlike most wild animals, they don't always flee when they see people. Some simply watch from a distance, as if trying to decide whether humans are a threat or not. So, will these chimps survive? Well, it's a race against time. Every year, more miners, hunters, and loggers move into their territory. If the Bili apes truly are the largest chimpanzees in the world, if they really do have the power to take down lions, and if they represent a completely unique society of primates, then their protection should be a priority. The mysterious appearance of the Bili apes. When it comes to the description of these giant chimpanzees, things get very strange, very fast. Some say they look like ordinary chimps, just much bigger. Others claim they resemble something ancient, almost prehistoric, like the extinct Australopithecines, early human ancestors that walked the earth millions of years ago. And then there are those who believe they are something entirely new. If you ever find yourself deep in the forests of northern Congo and one of these apes steps into view, you might first think you're looking at a gorilla. That's because the Beely apes are massive, much larger than a regular chimpanzee. Reports suggest they stand up to 6 feet tall on 2 legs and weigh over 200 pounds, making them the biggest chimpanzees ever recorded. But here's where things get even stranger. Their faces are flatter than those of normal chimpanzees, with a wide muzzle and a brow ridge that runs straight across their foreheads, almost like early human ancestors such as Sahelanthropus. Unlike gorillas, which only turn gray on their backs as they age, Beely apes turn completely gray early in life, and at the same time, regardless of whether they are male or female. This gives them a ghostly, mysterious look, almost as if they are wise old beings wandering through the jungle. And what about their skulls? When researchers found one, it had a huge sagittal crest, a bony ridge on the top of the head that is usually seen in gorillas. This crest helps support powerful jaw muscles, meaning these apes could have an incredibly strong bite. However, out of all the skulls collected, only one had this feature, so it's not something common in the population. The mysterious behavior of the Beely apes. Looks are one thing, but the behavior of the Beely apes is even more fascinating. First, let's address one of the most bizarre claims. Do they howl at the moon? One researcher, Shelley Williams, once stated that the Beely apes howl at night, raising eerie cries to the sky. But this claim has been widely disputed by other experts who never witnessed such behavior. So, is it just a myth? Or is there something more to it? One thing is clear. These apes behave very differently from other chimpanzees. Most chimpanzees sleep in trees, building nests high up where they are safe from predators. But the Beely apes? They build ground nests, just like gorillas. They weave branches together to form a protective structure, making large, sturdy nests in swampy riverbeds. But they also nest in trees, sometimes building ground and tree nests in the same area. And yet, despite this gorilla-like behavior, their diet is much more similar to chimpanzees. They primarily eat fruit, frequently visiting strangler fig trees and other fruit-bearing plants. Unlike gorillas, they don't stick to leaves and vegetation. They hunt and scavenge when necessary. Perhaps the most chilling thing about the Beely apes is how they react to people. Most wild chimpanzees are afraid of humans. If they see people, they will either run away or act aggressively, screaming and throwing objects. Gorillas, on the other hand, are protective and will charge at intruders to defend their families. But the Beely apes? When scientists like Cleve Hicks encountered them deep in the jungle, far from villages and roads, they saw something very different. These apes didn't run, and they didn't attack. Instead, they surrounded the humans in total silence. Imagine being in the middle of the jungle, and suddenly you realize you are completely encircled by giant chimpanzees, watching you from all directions. What would you do? Instead of being aggressive, the apes were simply curious. They would walk up to humans, stare into their eyes for a long time, then quietly slip away into the shadows. It was almost as if they were studying the humans, trying to decide what to do with them. However, this only happens deep in the jungle, where the chimps are less used to people. Near roads and villages, they behave like normal chimps. They flee at the first sign of humans. But the deeper you go, the stranger they become. Scientists are still trying to understand what makes the Beely apes so different from other chimpanzees. Their size, behavior, and even their appearance are unlike any other primates we know of. Some researchers believe they are simply an isolated group of chimpanzees that evolved their own unique culture. Others suspect they may be a unique subspecies, or possibly even a hybrid between gorillas and chimps, though there is no genetic evidence for this. Are these apes smarter than we thought? it is clear to you how similar the Congolese monkeys are to humans. However, it may surprise you that many scientists think they are even more advanced than we previously imagined. What if I told you that chimpanzees in the Congo have their own unique cultures, tool-making techniques, and even ways of communicating that are passed down through generations? And what if I told you that gorillas, long thought to be simple, family-based creatures, actually live in structured societies that resemble human tribes? You might think humans are the only species with complex cultures, but recent discoveries suggest otherwise. The apes of the Congo are rewriting everything we thought we knew about intelligence, society, and evolution. For 12 years, scientists led by Thurston C. Hicks studied a massive population of chimpanzees in the Biliwere region of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. This area, covering more than 19,000 square miles, is home to what researchers are calling a chimpanzee megaculture. What does that mean? It means that these chimpanzees share a common set of behaviors passed down through generations across a vast territory. This is incredibly rare in the animal world. It suggests that, just like humans, these chimps learn from one another, teach their young, and spread new ideas across their communities. Think about that for a second. We often talk about human civilization as being built on knowledge passed down over thousands of years. But here, in the heart of the Congo, another species is doing the same thing, only with sticks instead of steel and termite mounds instead of cities. One of the most fascinating discoveries about the Biliwere chimpanzees is their advanced tool-making skills. Scientists discovered that these chimpanzees use at least 4 different types of tools, each specifically designed for a particular task. They use long ant probes, some reaching up to 7 feet in length, to extract ants from their nests. For a different type of ant, they employ shorter probes. In addition, they make use of thin wands for precise tasks, as well as digging sticks to extract honey from underground bee nests. The fact that these chimps make specialized tools for specific jobs suggests a high level of intelligence and problem-solving skills. But the real mystery? Why are their ant probes so much longer than those of other chimpanzees? Hicks and his team believe it might be to avoid getting bitten by aggressive driver ants. But even then, why do Biliwere chimps make them twice as long as other chimp groups? Could it be a sign of cultural evolution? And that's not all. Unlike most chimpanzees who fish for termites using sticks, these chimps do something completely different. They pound termite mounds open with their fists or other objects instead. Scientists have no idea why. But one thing is clear, they are making unique decisions based on their environment, just like early humans did. While these chimpanzees were revealing their incredible intelligence, another group of scientists was making a shocking discovery about gorillas. For years, people believed that gorillas lived in simple family groups, one dominant silverback, a few females, and their babies. But new research shows that gorillas actually live in complex social networks that resemble early human societies. Imagine an ancient village where extended families, friends, and allies all work together. That's exactly how gorillas live. A study of western lowland gorillas in the Republic of Congo revealed that their social structure consists of multiple layers, much like that of humans. At the core are family groups, where a dominant male lives with several females and their young. Beyond this, gorillas form extended family networks, regularly interacting with individuals from different family groups, similar to how human cousins and grandparents maintain connections. On a larger scale, they establish tribal-like communities where multiple groups share territories and occasionally come together for social interactions. Even more fascinating is the fact that gorillas recognize and maintain long-term social bonds, not just with their relatives, but also with unrelated individuals. They build friendships, forge alliances, and even develop rivalries, much like humans do. This is huge because it suggests that the origins of human social structure go back much further than we thought. Maybe we didn't invent complex societies, maybe we inherited them from a common ancestor. When we think about evolution, we often imagine slow changes happening over millions of years. But what if some species, like the Biliwere chimpanzees and the western lowland gorillas, are changing right now? The Congo's great apes might be showing us something extraordinary, the next step in primate evolution, happening before our very eyes. And if we lose them, if mining, hunting, and deforestation wipe them out, then we might lose a living glimpse into our own past, and perhaps even our future. Can we save the Bili apes? Speaking of preservation and protection, we must ask ourselves an important question. Can we save the mysterious and powerful Bili apes before they disappear forever? Their future is uncertain. Poaching, deforestation, armed conflict, and weak law enforcement are pushing them closer to extinction every day. The Bili apes are in a fight for survival, and if something isn't done soon, these incredible primates could vanish within a few decades. The situation is dire, but hope is not lost. International organizations and governments have stepped in to try and save the Bili chimpanzees before it's too late. Both the United States and Israel have become key players in the battle to protect these primates and their fragile home. In 2015, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service provided funding for anti-poaching patrols, partnering with the African Wildlife Foundation to train and equip rangers. These brave men and women patrol the dense forests of Biliwere, tracking illegal hunters and stopping the sale of chimpanzee meat in local markets. Meanwhile, Israel has contributed specialized ranger training through Mishmar Consulting, a private security firm run by former Special Forces operatives. This training is especially important because poachers in the region are often heavily armed, and rebel groups like the Lord's Resistance Army use the forest for cover. The rangers not only protect chimpanzees, but also help keep local villages safe from violent groups. Despite these efforts, poaching remains one of the biggest threats to the Bili chimpanzees. In local markets, chimpanzee meat is still being sold, and baby chimps are often captured and sold illegally as pets. The numbers are staggering. Since 2010, at least 440 chimpanzees have been eliminated every year in northern Congo alone. Even though the Biliwere region is technically protected by Congolese law, most local authorities don't even know that chimpanzees are a protected species. Some officials have even participated in the illegal bushmeat trade themselves. And the problem doesn't stop there. There simply aren't enough rangers to cover many square miles of jungle and savanna where the Bili apes live. Hunters know this, and they use the deep forest to hide from patrols. Until there are more rangers and stricter punishments for poachers, the illegal hunting of Bili chimpanzees will continue. For decades, the forests of northern Congo have been a hiding place for rebel groups, including the infamous Lord's Resistance Army. These heavily armed militias slay wildlife for food, destroy local villages, and make it even more dangerous for researchers and conservationists to work in the region. This level of instability makes conservation efforts incredibly difficult. Some scientists have even been forced to leave the area because it's simply too dangerous to continue their work. If nothing changes, the Bili chimpanzees could disappear within the next 30 years. Chimpanzees reproduce very slowly. Females give birth only once every 5 years, which means that even a small decline in population can be catastrophic. At the beginning of the 20th century, there were over 1 million chimpanzees in Africa. Today, there are fewer than 170,000. The numbers are dropping fast, and without serious action, future generations might never get to see these intelligent and powerful apes in the wild. Saving the Bili chimpanzees will require a combination of science, law enforcement, and community engagement. One of the most important steps is the enforcement of stronger laws. The Congolese government must take illegal poaching more seriously, ensuring that those caught killing or selling chimpanzees face real consequences. Without strict penalties, the illegal wildlife trade will continue to threaten these primates. Another crucial measure is increasing the number of rangers in the region. Conservation groups must expand their efforts to train and deploy more patrols, preventing poachers from hunting unchecked. With vast areas of dense forest to monitor, more trained personnel are essential for effective protection. Educating the local population is also a key part of the solution. Many people in the Congo are unaware that chimpanzees are endangered, and by raising awareness, local communities can become allies in conservation rather than unintentional contributors to the problem. Understanding the ecological importance of chimpanzees can encourage communities to protect them rather than exploit them. International support is another major factor in the fight to save the Bili apes. While funding from countries like the United States and Israel has been helpful, more global organizations must step in before it is too late. Conservation efforts require ongoing financial resources to sustain anti-poaching patrols, provide necessary equipment, and support habitat preservation. Finally, protecting the chimpanzee's habitat is essential. Without forests, these primates cannot survive. Stopping deforestation and preventing illegal land development in the Biliwere region is critical to ensuring a future for this extraordinary population. Their survival depends on preserving the environment they call home, making habitat protection one of the most urgent priorities in the fight to save the Bili chimpanzees. Joe Rogan's Wild Theory. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe and his guest, an expert in primatology and evolutionary biology, dove deep into one of the most fascinating and mysterious discoveries in recent years: the giant chimpanzee society of the Congo that is able to take down lions. At one point, Joe, in his signature enthusiastic style, leaned in and said, "They hunt lions. What are we even talking about?" The idea that chimpanzees, creatures we associate with tool use and intelligence but not large-scale predation, could take down apex predators like lions blew his mind. But then, Rogan took it a step further. He proposed a theory that left his guest speechless. "Think about everything we've learned about these apes," Joe continued. "They're bigger than any known chimpanzee. They move differently. They behave differently. They aren't scared of humans like other primates. And they have this completely unique tool culture, different from every other chimp population. What if, just hear me out, what if these aren't just chimpanzees? What if they are either a surviving branch of our ancient ancestors or a group that has started evolving separately right now towards something new?" His guest hesitated before responding, clearly intrigued. "So, you're saying we might be witnessing another branch of human evolution happening in real time?" "Exactly," Joe exclaimed. "Maybe these chimps split from the evolutionary tree long ago and have been developing in their own direction ever since. Or this is even crazier, what if we're watching a second rise of intelligent hominins, a new species evolving before our eyes?" The conversation left listeners with a chilling thought. Could these apes be something more than just another chimpanzee? And if so, what happens next? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more.